You know, for years, the whole story of finance seemed super simple. You had the old guard, centralized finance, or CeFi, and then you had the new rebels, decentralized finance, DeFi, right? Two totally separate worlds heading for two different futures. But what if I told you that that entire story is just plain wrong? Because it turns out the lines aren't just blurring, they're basically disappearing.
Yeah, a lot of us thought we were watching this epic battle for financial supremacy. A winner-take-all fight between tradition and revolution. But the outcome? It's not what anyone expected. Turns out, there wasn't a winner. Why? Because it was never really a fight to begin with. It was something else entirely.
Okay, so to really get what's going on, we got to go back and look at the classic playbook. On one side, you've got the established order, and on the other, this radical, revolutionary new vision.
And when you look at it like this, the divide seems crystal clear, doesn't it? CeFi is all about those trusted middlemen, your banks, your brokers, who give you security through their oversight. DeFi, on the other hand, promised to just get rid of them. Replace them with code, with smart contracts, on peer-to-peer networks that give everyone open access. It was security versus freedom, stability versus innovation. Seemed like a really clear choice. But, and this is the kicker, that clarity, it was pretty much an illusion.
But here's where it gets interesting. If you actually start looking at what's been happening recently, a totally different picture starts to form. So let's dive into 5 key signs that show these two worlds aren't just colliding, they're actually starting to melt into one another.
First up, let's tackle that core promise of DeFi, decentralization. So get this, a report with ties to the European Central Bank found something that kind of blows that idea out of the water. In some of the biggest DeFi protocols out there, a teeny-tiny group of players holds a whopping 80% of the voting power. So that big promise of a system governed by everyone? In reality, it can end up looking an awful lot like the old system, where a small handful of people are calling all the shots. Turns out, power can concentrate pretty much anywhere.
All right, second point, and this one's a biggie. Guess who's suddenly interested in DeFi? The most centralized players you can imagine, central banks. At first, they were skeptical, for sure, but now they're deep into experimentation. The Monetary Authority of Singapore is teaming up with JP Morgan to test DeFi for tokenized securities. And this isn't them being defensive either. This is CeFi actively grabbing pages from the DeFi playbook to make itself faster and more efficient.
Third, and you probably saw this one coming, the regulators are here. Places like the UK and Russia are creating brand new rules for crypto. They're bringing in the kind of oversight, the identity checks, the central controls, all the hallmarks of traditional finance. Now this brings stability, yeah, and consumer protection, but it also means the Wild West days of DeFi are getting tamed by CeFi's rulebook.
Okay, number 4. Let's talk about something that is like the absolute bedrock of the DeFi world, stablecoins. These are the cryptocurrencies designed to hold a steady value, acting as this super important bridge between the crazy crypto markets and traditional money like the US dollar. They're what make DeFi actually usable day to day.
But that begs a really important question, right? What or who actually makes a stablecoin stable? Well, more often than not, it's a very centralized company, a bank, or some other institution that holds the cash reserves. And this creates this amazing paradox. You have a decentralized ecosystem that is totally dependent on centralized anchors to keep from floating away.
And finally, number 5. This one really hits home. There's a steep price for all that freedom. In DeFi, this saying goes, you are your own bank. And that sounds great. It sounds empowering, but it also means that you, and only you, are on the hook. Just look at the recent security issue at Kelp DAO. We're talking an estimated $300 million loss. There's no 1-800 number to call, no government insurance to bail you out.
And this, right here, this really sums up the big trade-off, doesn't it? DeFi gives you total control, but that comes with total, crushing responsibility. CeFi has intermediaries, which can feel a little restrictive, sure, but they also provide safety nets, a way to get your money back when things go sideways. But what if you didn't have to make that choice?
So, when you put all this evidence together, the sneaky centralization in DeFi, the warm embrace from CeFi, and these unavoidable trade-offs, it all points to one single conclusion. We're not seeing one side win. We're actually seeing the birth of something brand new.
See, this isn't about one system crushing the other. Not at all. It's more like a synthesis, an evolution into a much more sophisticated financial model that's designed to take the absolute best from both worlds.
And that brings us to this new idea, a term that's been popping up more and more, HyFi, or hybrid finance. This is the new reality. One single integrated system that blends the regulated security of CeFi with the incredible tech and open access innovation of DeFi.
So, what does this new HyFi world actually look like in practice? Well, imagine this. It's a world where your bank uses a blockchain to make your transactions way faster and more transparent. It's a world where DeFi protocols start to adopt smart regulation so they can earn mainstream trust. It's a system where centralized players provide that crucial stability and where power is shared in a much more balanced and resilient way.
Okay, so let's bring it all home. Why does any of this matter to you? I mean, this isn't just some academic debate for Wall Street and tech nerds. This shift is literally redefining money and who gets access to it, for everyone.
I think the most important thing to remember here is this. By combining these two forces, we're building a financial ecosystem that's way stronger than its individual parts. It's more resilient because CeFi's safety nets can protect against DeFi's spectacular failures. It's more accessible because DeFi's open technology can reach people that traditional banking has often left behind. And it's just plain more efficient, using tech to cut out all that annoying friction we've just learned to live with.
So I'll just leave you with this one last thought. Maybe the story was never about a wild revolution burning down the old system. Maybe it was always about a powerful evolution, a blending of the best ideas to create something fundamentally better. The battle is over, and it seems the real winner was the future itself.